Okay, so before I get all my work done and do another bug video, like I told you in the last one, I have a bunch of random clips of the Jeep that I haven't done anything with. Not a whole lot has happened. I bought a hood for it, which we'll get into, and then everything else is pretty much the same. So I'm gonna walk you through just a couple of the clips and kind of what has happened since then. We took it to the racetrack. There was a big security issue that prevented it from starting, so we got all that figured out. I broke it, so I'm gonna just fill you in on where this is at, because all I have to do for this one is make a couple of these videos and then just crop all the rest of it into it. So I'm gonna do that now. Enjoy. So I've been looking at the Jevette a lot, or the Jeep, whatever, and it's long in the front and it doesn't look like a Jeep. The back, I like how it looks. The front just kind of looks, I don't know, it doesn't look good. So I went out and I bought a hood for a CJ, but I have to get this piece right here to move back 14 inches, which is to about here. The problem is this right here. That weld is not perfectly lined up with that. It's about 2 inches off. So I'm gonna cut to here and then just kind of see what I can do. I can take another about 1.5 inches out of that to get it to move back a little bit. So I'm gonna do that and see how it looks and then start brainstorming from there. There's a lot of, obviously the radiator goes there, but there's a lot of space that doesn't need to just be empty, and it looks silly anyway. So I'm gonna try and get that to fit. Sorry, I took a bunch of crap off without filming. I forgot. But so that's what I'm doing now. The car won't start now. I was driving yesterday, security light came on, and it just won't crank over. So the ECU's over at J&S, and they're trying to get rid of it. It's called VATS. It's like a Chevy's vehicle security nonsense. So they're gonna see if they can delete that off the ECU. Hopefully that's all it takes, because I don't have the time or the patience to mess around with something like that. But so that's what I'm doing now. Okay, so I got more of the frame cut off and it lines up pretty good. So now the problem is that because I made this wider, the curve doesn't line up. So I'm gonna cut it along that line, and then I have to cut it some here, otherwise it'll hit the tire. So I did that, measured everything, made a stupid little grid so I could copy the same thing on the other side as close as I could. So I'm gonna cut that out and then really line that up. It fits, but there's no room right here for me to put the radiator. It's gonna be really tight. I don't know what I'm doing on that yet. So much of this project has been, instead of thinking about something long enough for me to talk myself out of it, I've made the habit of just doing it, and then I'm forced to figure it out. And that's worked pretty well because I don't have a choice after it's done. So that's kind of what I'm doing on this. I'm going to think about it a little bit, but if I just go, then I have to make the radiator fit, and that's the end of that. So I'm going to cut the hood, get everything lined up, see where the grill actually needs to sit, and then I'll try and mount the radiator and see how that's going to work. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, all three of you watching this. So the hood still does not fit because I couldn't get this pushed back far enough. This is as far back as we could push this with the headlights not bashing into the radiator. So it's back about 12 inches. It looks better. I like it, so we're keeping it. I got this to sit differently. The shoelace is on here to prevent what happened last night. So this was upright like it was before. I punched it in first. This whole filter went whoop-ah. Okay, so then we put that back on the side of the road. Then this part disconnected when I shifted into second, and the whole thing went whoop-ah, and if wires were not attached to it, it would have hit me in the face. So that is how that is going to stay until I find motivation to, I have no idea, cut the hood, extend that too. Why not? We've extended everything else. So this is how that's going to stay for now. So Chevy had another security thing. Whenever the key was out of the ignition, the steering wheel automatically locked. Not even just when you turn it a little bit, just automatically not going to move. So that was a recall because they sucked. Mine has been serviced, as you can tell, because it spins forever. That was Chevy's fix. They just said, okay, let's take those out and spin it forever. So mine's been serviced. Cool. Okay, so what I didn't mention in that clip there is that this little chip on the key there, it's actually a resistor. And when these contacts wear out, it can't communicate with the ECU, so that cuts power to the starter. So we bypassed that. I found the mother resistor that communicates with, and I just jumped that to a push start. So you turn the key to the on position, press the start button, fires up. Cool, so that was done. Then it would crank. It ran for like a day, and then it would crank, but it wouldn't start. So that was the clip you just saw of me turning the steering wheel and the electronic locks that they took out. So when the batteries on these Vettes get low, it freaks out the module that controls the steering locks. So it thinks that the steering wheel is locked, so it cuts power to the fuel. So I found the resistor for that and bypassed that as well. So now the starting issue is gone. Since I've done that, it hasn't left me stranded. It's never not started. Mechanically, in that aspect, it's solid. Cool. So the reason there are no videos of us going to Bandimere or prepping for Bandimere is because we had no intentions of racing. We thought my temp tags were about to expire, so we thought, hey, let's go to Bandimere. Let's just cruise the Miata in the Jeep. We get there. I wanted to go to tech to see. Obviously, I'm missing a lot, so I wanted to go and ask, what else do I need to run here? And so we got down there. The guy was like, well, go buy a tech card and I'll pass you. And I was like, so I was freaking out. So I was tech to, I think, a 14.0. As you're about to watch in the video, it did not do as well as I wanted to. I thought it was gonna run like 2-3, not 2 or 3, but at least a second faster than it did. But it was really fun. Yeah, so watch that and then I'll tell you what broke.
I'll take you uptown, downtown. I got a crown in
So on, what was that? The first race was actually my best pass. I ran a 14.5. And I was not happy with that. I was like, that's ridiculous. This thing should run a 13, blah, blah, blah. So I went back down to race again. And I was mad. I was just like, I'm going to just give this thing everything. So I did. I spun like crazy. Bad pass again. And then the last one, I was not happy at all. I was like, this is garbage. This thing is going to hook, blah, blah, blah. So I did a burnout. Gave it, just beat the snot out of it. The LS1 heads are trash. They are garbage. And I've had issues with the passenger side head before. One of the valves or one of the lifters or something gets stuck or drops or some nonsense, and it'll sit there and tick for a minute. Usually when I hit red line or bounce off the rev limiter, whatever is not happy in there will get stuck. And so that on that last race when I almost lost to that GTI, the head started ticking, and it didn't stop ticking until probably the 8th mile. And then I was able to kind of get back up and going. Well, that race, I launched it so bad that, and which doesn't make sense because it didn't even hook, but whatever. I beat the snot out of it, and the diff sounded like a jet turbine. Like it sounds so bad. It's louder than the motor now. It's like a wah. Somehow I drove it home, but it's not happy, and I haven't really driven it since because of that. So we're going to do new heads, see what's going on with the diff. Plans for next year are to make it actually look good. So after the bug is done, I figured since they're both broken, the bug's been sitting longer, so we're going to do that first and then get into this. The plan is to make it look good, new heads, boost of some sort, and just make like maybe 4 or 5 for now and just kind of see where that takes us. But yeah, it was a blast to drive though. I drove it as much as I could until the temp tags expired, and it's hands down the coolest thing I've ever driven. Just no windshield, no doors, being low to the ground. It's insane to drive. But so that's where it is now. I'll tell you when there's an update on that. But thanks for watching all that, and next video will be finishing up that guy. So thanks.